friends, today I've got 20 easy spring and Easter DIYs using Dollar Tree items. They're simple, budget friendly, and perfect for anyone who loves decorating on a dime. Let's get started. For this DIY, you're going to need a cake tray and a plant cloche. I picked both of these up at Dollar Tree. I started by removing the sticker on the cloche. After trying for a bit, I realized it wasn't going to come off without leaving residue. So I grabbed a blow dryer, I just applied heat, and the sticker peeled right off. This is a quick and easy hack you can use for stubborn stickers that just won't come off. Next, I used some window cleaner to give it a good wipe down. The plastic is pretty thin and flexible, so I made sure to handle it gently and not bend it while cleaning it. I also cleaned the cake tray as well. Next, I'm adding some moss and spreading it evenly around the cake tray. Once it's all filled in, I'm placing this adorable moss-covered bunny right on top. I found it in the plus section at Dollar Tree. I have these egg pigs that I really love because of the texture on the eggs. I don't need the stick, so I'm cutting off the stem just enough so I can place them onto the moss without it being noticeable. And now it's time to place the cloche over everything and bring it all together. This already is so cute, but let's finish it off. I'm adding a pre-made bow and hot gluing it to the top. So is this a yes or a no for you? I think it's adorable. Let me know what you think. For this next DIY, I grabbed a round wooden ring and a craft wood piece from Dollar Tree. I'm going to show you how to turn these basic supplies into something really eye-catching. I'll be using Apple Barrel matte acrylic paint in the color light mocha. I really love this shade because it gives a beautiful natural wood-like look. Exactly what I'm going for this project. I'm going to start by painting the wood ring with this color, making sure to cover it evenly with a smooth finish. I'm going to give it a few hours to dry. Waverly wax in the color antique is one of my absolute favorites to use on wood projects, especially when I'm looking for a beautiful stain wood finish without using an actual stain. It really brings out the warmth in the wood and adds so much character. I'll be using the antique wax to stain the craft wood piece. I'll apply it evenly and then wipe it back slightly to get that rich natural wood look that I love so much. Now that the finish on both pieces has completely dried, it's time to start assembling the project. This is where everything really begins to come together. I'll be using a mix of spring florals along with some greenery to add texture and interest. I'm going to hot glue the florals to the lower portion of the wood ring, layering them as I go to create a full balanced look while still keeping it light and airy. Next, this wood piece is going to serve as the base for the ring. I'm going to apply hot glue to the piece of wood and carefully place the ring onto the wood. Once it's positioned where I want it, I'll hold it down for a few minutes to make sure the hot glue fully adheres and creates a strong bond with the wood. This step is important so everything stays nice and secure as we move forward with the rest of the project. Now the star of this project is this moss bunny. I'll be placing it in the center of the ring. I'll secure it by using some hot glue as it stays perfectly in place. And now for the finishing touch, I'm going to secure these two Easter eggs to the wood base with some hot glue. This is such a simple DIY, but I think it turned out beautifully. What do you think? Is this a yes or a no for you? For this project, I'm starting with this adorable Easter decor piece from Dollar Tree. I love that it's made of wood. That already gives me a great base to work with. The bunny in the center is going to be my main focal point. To give this piece a softer, more neutral look, I'm going to start by painting around the bunny using Apple Barrel acrylic paint in the color light mocha. By painting over the border, it's instantly going to calm everything down and give it a more simple, elevated look. Sometimes just removing those extra details makes such a big difference and really lets the focal point shine. I'm loving how this is coming together so far. Now it's time to give our bunny some texture. I'm gonna start covering the bunny with moss. Working in small sections, I'll add hot glue directly onto the surface and then press the moss right on top. I like to do this a little at a time so the glue doesn't dry before I place the moss. For a minute, the bunny is going to completely disappear, but don't panic. Once everything is covered, I'll go back in and gently trim around the edges to define his shape again. Now that the bunny is fully covered, it's time to bring his shape back. I'm going to gently pull away any loose excess moss first. Then using a small pair of scissors, I'll carefully trim around the edges. Since the bunny is completely covered right now, I'm using the raised outline as my guide. As I trim along those edges, you'll start to see his shape come back into view. Just take your time with this step. Slow, small cuts will give you the cleanest results. And just like that, our bunny is back and looking even better with all that texture. Now it's time to create a border for this piece. I'll be using these wood beads from the Crafter's Square collection at Dollar Tree. I love working with these because they add just the right amount of texture and detail without overpowering the design. I'm going to place them around the edge to frame the bunny and really define the shape. This little detail is going to pull everything together and give it that finished custom look. I'm going to start hot gluing the beads in place beginning at the bottom. You'll notice I'm not placing them directly on the very edge. That's because this piece has a section at the bottom that slides into a stand. I don't want to block that area. So I'm carefully working around that opening and leaving it clear. Once I get past that section, I'll continue gluing the beads all the way around the remaining edge to fully frame the bunny. That way it still fits perfectly in the stand but has that beautiful finished border everywhere else. Right here I'm testing it in the stand and it's a little too wobbly for my liking. So to make it more secure, I'm going to add a bit of hot glue inside the stand before placing it back in. Then I'll hold it steady for a few seconds until it sets. That little bit of extra support will keep it nice and sturdy so it stands upright without shifting. And here's the finished look, simple, neutral, and a little more elevated. Now I want to know, is this your style? Would you decorate with this? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. For this project, I'm starting with this wood carrot that I found at Dollar Tree in the Easter craft section. First, I'm going to paint the carrot using acrylic paint in the classic orange and green. This will give us a solid base to work with. I'm going to start with the green paint, focusing on the top where the stems would naturally be. Once that's done, I'll move on to painting the body of the carrot with the orange paint. But don't stop watching here because I have a really fun idea to completely transform this piece and give it a beautiful 3D texture. The paint on the carrot is now dry, so it's time to add some texture. I'm going to start to trim a piece of the doily to cover the orange portion of the carrot. First, I'll apply a layer of Mod Podge directly onto the carrot. Then carefully place the doily on top. Once it's in place, I'll brush another layer of Mod Podge over the doily to secure it. I'm going to give the glue a few hours to dry. After it's completely dry, I'll trim away any excess material and tidy up around the edges. This step instantly gives the carrot a fun 3D texture look without a lot of effort. Next, I'm going to add some green stems to the top of the carrot. I'll use hot glue to secure them right where the leafy tops would naturally grow. This little addition instantly makes the carrot look more realistic and gives it a fun, dimensional finish. Now I'm going to add a finishing touch with this scallop burlap ribbon. I'll create a simple bow with some tails and secure it right under the green stems using hot glue. This adds a charming, realistic detail that really completes the look of the carrot. And just like that, our 3D carrot is complete. I love how the texture, stems, and bow all came together and gave it a fun dimensional look. Is this a yes or a no for you? In the plus section at Dollar Tree, they have these beautiful large eggs, and I picked this one up to work with. The surface already has a raised texture pattern, and I want to make it really pop. To do that, I'm going to use a gold apple barrel acrylic paint pen to carefully trace over the raised areas. This little touch of color instantly highlights the texture and gives the egg a more elegant, eye-catching look. And here's how the egg turned out. I love how the gold really makes the texture pop. To display it, I'm going to use this candle stand as a pedestal, but before placing the egg directly on it, I'm adding a round piece of floral foam in between for stability and to create a base for decoration. I'm going to cover the side of the foam with moss. To do this, I'll put a thin layer of hot glue on low setting and then gently press it into the moss so it sticks all around. Once the side is fully covered, I'll start inserting florals into the foam. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to the candle stand and then place my foam over it. And now I'm just going to clip off some of these stems from these spring flowers and just insert them into the foam. And this is how it turned out. Let me know if this is something that you would do. Is this a yes or a no? For this simple project, I'm starting with this bunny plate. It's a white plate from Dollar Tree that I've already embellished. I have the full tutorial linked in the description box if you want to see that step by step. I'm also using this white bowl from Dollar Tree to begin assembling. I'm going to hot glue the bowl directly to the center of the plate, placing them bottom to bottom. I'll hold it in place for a few seconds to make sure it's nice and secure. This creates a great base and instantly gives the piece more height and dimension. Next, I'm going to place this adorable bunny from Dollar Tree right in the center. I'll then add a few of these carrots with the little wood stands and arrange them around the bunny. I like grouping them close together to create a sweet little scene. I'll secure the carrots with hot glue so everything stays in place. Next, I'm going to add the speckled egg for a little extra detail. To turn it into a decorative accent, I'm using the tip of my hot glue gun to carefully create small openings. I'm gently pushing the metal tip against the top of the egg and holding it there just long enough for the heat to melt through the plastic and form a hole. I'll repeat this in a few spots to create several openings. Now I'm going to take some of these spring florals and trim the stems down nice and short, just small enough to fit into the opening I created in the egg. Once they're trimmed, I'll insert them right into the hole. The egg is basically going to act as a tiny planter, which I think is such a cute and unexpected detail. This adds a soft of pop and color and makes the whole arrangement feel extra special and unique. Lastly, I'm going to add some moss to fill in the spaces between all the pieces. I'm just gently spreading it around to soften the look and tie everything together. This was such a simple Easter DIY and it only took a few minutes to put together. I love how it turned out. What do you think? These stretch canvases aren't just for painting. Let me show you how I turned these two into one mini tray. For this first canvas, I'm going to start by removing the staples from the frame. This will allow me to separate the canvas from the wooden frame so we can use it in a completely different way for this project. Now for the second canvas, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to place it down and use these wood beads to create a frame around the edges. I'm attaching them with hot glue, working my way around to give it a nice finished border. And this is how it's looking so far. And I'm just going to finish off this portion. And this is how it turned out. And now I'm going to take my wood frame and hot glue it onto the beads. And this is how it turned out so far. For the side handles, I'm going to use these gold tone metal pull handles from Dollar Tree. They're the perfect size and add just a touch of elegance, which really helps elevate the look of the mini tray. I'm going to attach the handles to the sides using some cement glue. This will give them a strong, secure hold so the tray stays sturdy while still looking polished and finished. To make sure the glue sets firmly, I'm going to add a little weight on top of the handles. As you can see, it's a small tray, but there's still plenty of space to add decorations or display your favorite pieces. Is this a yes or a no for you? For this DIY, I'm going to be using 2 of these wire candy canes, and I'm going to turn it into a carrot. So as you see me turn them opposite sides, once I position them exactly where I want them, I'll go ahead and zip tie them together. And here I'm just showing you where I zip tied them together. I'm going to go in with some orange mesh and cover the whole entire carrot. This is how it looked with one roll of mesh, and I'm going in with the second one. I'm going to use some jute cord to create some lines on my carrot. And this is how it's looking so far. And I'm also going to use some onion grass. And using a piece of jute cord, I'm going to tie them together by adding some hot glue. And now I'm going to cut an opening at the top of my carrot, and then I'm going to slip my onion grass through there. And to hold it in place, I added a piece of jute cord to the back of it, and all I did is just add some hot glue and then place my jute cord over it. And then lastly, I added this bow that I had made earlier. For this next DIY, I'm going to be using this wooden bunny from Dollar Tree and also these napkins. I'm only going to be using the printed side of the napkin, so what I'm going to do is pull both papers apart as you see me do there. Next, I'm going to apply some Mod Podge over my entire bunny. And now I'm going to come in with my printed napkin and I'm going to place it over my bunny and just smooth it out with my hands. And then I'll come in with my Mod Podge one more time. So now once the Mod Podge has dried, it's time for me to cut the paper off the edges of my bunny. I'll be using these nail files to smooth off the edges because I don't have a sanding block. That's why I am using these and they work just fine. This planter is from a previous DIY, so I'm going to be reusing it, and what I did is just paint it white and then distressed it a little bit by adding some black color in the edges and just in different areas, and I just also looped it with some nautical rope on the sides. I'll be adding my bunny. I'll also be adding some green Excelsior and also some speckled eggs. And I couldn't forget some spring flowers to my planter. And I couldn't resist this Dollar Tree bunny bottoms, so I added one to my planter. How cute is that? Now this is going to be an easy, no skills required DIY. You know how Dollar Tree has these Easter baskets and they're all so cute. I love this one with bunny ears. Well, what I use this for is just a plant holder. So all I did is just put a plant with flowers into my basket, and voila, there you go. You have a cute spring Easter decor. Now for this DIY, I'm going to be using this wire wreath. And I'm going to take this Dollar Tree ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around my wreath. But first I'll start off by hot gluing the ribbon onto the back. Dollar Tree has these really cute bunnies in this brown color and white. So I'm going to be attaching this brown one onto my wreath and I'm going to be hot gluing him. So I hot glued the top of his head and then also down at the bottom. And also from Dollar Tree, I'm going to be attaching this wire carrot next to the bunny. So I'm going to wrap the bunny's arm around the carrot and then I'm going to hot glue it. And then I hot glued these little carrots along the side of the wreath. Now these carrots, I had used them in a previous DIY and that's why it has some onion grass attached to it. Dollar Tree has these gift bags and they're shaped like little carrots. I think they're adorable. I'll be using one of these bags and I'll be placing it in between the wires from my wire carrot. I also added some onion grass in the pocket of my little carrot. And then lastly, I took these larger Dollar Tree carrots and I put them into the pocket. And then I took this bow and I put it at the top of the carrot. For this project, I used this tin planter and what I did is I gave it some coat of paints and I started off with some chalk paint in the color white. And then I went in with this Waverly chalk paint in the color mineral. I didn't wait for the white paint to dry when I went in with the second color, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with the third color. And then I went in with this color called Chocolate Bar, and this is from Apple Barrel. And now to soften all the colors, I used this damp paper towel, and all I did was just blot it all around, and just to give the paints to kind of marry together and just give it a nice soft color. And once the paint's dry, this is how it turned out. Next, I'm going to apply this stick-on that reads carrots. I created this on my Cricut. I'm also going to add these wooden cutouts by hot gluing them around the top of my planter. I used some green Excelsior to fill in my planter. I added these carrot picks and also this packet of carrot seeds. I hot glued a piece of stick to it and then I just put it inside my planter. For this next DIY, I'm going to be using this willow wreath. And I'll also be using this Dollar Tree microfiber cloth. And what I'm going to do with this is cut it in strips. So what I'm going to do is fold it twice and then cut my strip. And the reason that I did it this way is I felt that I would get a straighter line for my strips. And so then I use this as a pattern to cut the rest of them. So I was able to cut 4 strips with this much left over. And so now what I'm gonna do is wrap my wreath using those strips. Once I covered my entire wreath, I went back in with some more hot glue and applied where needed. I'm sure by now you've seen all of these bunny headbands at Dollar Tree. I brought this one home with me so that I can add it to my wreath. So what I did is break off the side bands and also in between the two ears. I did have to use my wire cutters because the plastic was pretty hard. I went in with some hot glue to apply the ears to the top of my wreath. And I couldn't resist these bunny feet, so I applied them also to my wreath. And lastly, I'm going to add this bow that I had made earlier. Now for this next project, I'm going to be taking this wooden bunny from Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to do is cover it with some moss. I'll be using some hot glue to glue on the moss, and I'll be doing sections at a time. And then I'll be taking my scissors to cut around the edges of my bunny just to give my bunny a good clean haircut. And then lastly, I'm going to be hot gluing these pink flowers to the top of my bunny's head. For this next DIY, I'll be using these stackable planters from Dollar Tree. Have y'all been to Dollar Tree lately? Have you seen these ceramic water cans? I think they're so adorable. I picked up one for this next project coming up. So in starting this project, the first thing that I did is start to paint my planters. I used some acrylic paint in the color Key West. I painted all three of my planters with the same color. Once the paint was dry, I stacked them up and then I added some green moss and also some green carrots. And remember the ceramic water can from Dollar Tree? I'm going to be using this as well. And this also comes with its own acrylic paint. So I used the paints that it came with. This is a nice project that you can do with your kids or your grandkids. The set did come with a paintbrush, but it was too small, so I used my own. And this is how it turned out. And then all I did was place it on top of my planter, just like this. Now I had this ring with this greenery from a previous project that I had done. Now if you'd like to do this project, Dollar Tree does have these brass wreath rings, and all you have to do is just add some greenery to one of the rings. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of these Dollar Tree signs that say hop, and I'm just going to attach it to my ring. I'm telling you, Dollar Tree has really, really cute items that you don't have to do anything to them, but use them like this on your wreaths if you'd like to, and you are good to go. So I'm just adding some hot glue there on the corners, and then I'm going to tie the hanger up at the top of the ring, and then just add a little bit of hot glue. And then lastly, I just added this bow that I had made with Dollar Tree ribbon. Now here's another no skills required DIY. All I'm going to do is hot glue this candle stand to this glass vase. Now the reason that I used hot glue is because I don't want this to be permanent. I will be using these two items separately later on. If you decide to do this project, then you want it to be a permanent item, then go ahead and use super glue or E6000. And so all I'm going to do with this is just layer it with some moss and some of those speckled eggs. And then in the center of the vase, I'm just going to tie it with some twine. Now this is such an easy Easter decor. For this next DIY, I picked up some of these Dollar Tree Easter eggs. Okay, so using this Dollar Tree wreath, what I'm gonna do is wrap some raffia around it, and then I'm gonna hot glue the eggs onto it. This is a super duper easy Easter wreath to make. And then once I was done adding the raffia, I hot glued these eggs around my wreath. For this next project, I picked up this Happy Easter bunny riding a bicycle wall decor from Dollar Tree. I thought it was absolutely adorable. So I started by just removing the hanger from it. Dollar Tree has this bicycle wheel wreath ring, so I thought this would be perfect to go with this wall decor. I'm going to be using some jute cord to outline the whole entire wheel. I'm going to start hot gluing the cord in the center of the wheel. And then I took some of these purple flowers and I hot glued the stem to the back. And to reinforce them, I added some duct tape. And then I took the bicycle and I added it on to my wheel and I hot glued it there in the center and also on the back side. Now this is going to be another simple wreath. I took a crafter square wood bead wreath and I hot glued some of these lilies only at the bottom half of the ring. But before I would hot glue them, I cut the lilies off their stem. I also attached this bow that I had previously made. I also decided to add some lilies to the bow. Next time you're at Dollar Tree, pick up these clay pots. I'm going to show you how to create an Easter topiary. And 2 bags of these foam eggs. So with this thick piece of cardboard paper, I went ahead and I created a cone simply by just rolling the side as you see me do there. And to hold it in place, I added some hot glue along the side. Next, I trimmed off the bottom so that it could be even. Next, I added some hot glue around the rim of the pot, and then I simply just placed my cone over it. And then I hot glued some green moss to my cone. And so this is how it turned out once I put all my moss to my cone. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is just hot glue these small foam eggs. I'm going to show you how easy it is to create some Easter pillows using these totes. I picked these up from Dollar Tree. If your Dollar Tree does not have them, perhaps you can find some fabric totes somewhere else. And I also picked up a pack of these bunny felt garland. These are just adorable. You can make so many projects with these. Dollar Tree also has these yarn kits, and they have this in pink and in white. So I picked up a pack of each. Now I'm going to start off by removing the handles from this tote, and I'm just going to simply cut them off. Okay, so I'm going to be working on the blank side of this tote. And remember these cute felt bunnies? Well, I'm going to be using 3 of them, and I'm going to hot glue them to the blank side of the tote. I went ahead and I used some of this ribbon to create some bows for my bunnies. And all I did is hot glue the bows to my bunnies. And if you haven't guessed now, I'm going to make a pillow. So all I'm going to do is stuff it with some cotton from an old pillow that I had. And then by using some hot glue, I'm going to seal the top. And then from the yarn craft kit, I'm going to use those pink pom-poms to attach them to my pillow. And I'll simply be hot gluing them. If you wanted to throw these in the wash, you would have to sew on the bunnies and also the pom-poms. I'm not going to be doing that since this is only a seasonal decor for my home. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. You have yourself a blessed day.